Hello, YouTube. It feels like a Monday, even though it is Tuesday. But after that 3-day weekend, man, it's so hard to get back in the swing of things, right? So, um, I'm thinking about starting a series, Transformation Tuesday. Um, I guess to give you a little background, um, I hope this isn't a long video, but to give you a little bit of background on why I want to start this series and the things that it will entail. Um, I, 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 I suffer from anxiety and depression sometimes. Um, it's been a challenge for most of my adult life. I think I had it probably in high school too. Um, I just didn't really realize that I had it in high school. 20 some years ago, you just didn't talk about stuff like that. Um, but it's always just been a part of my life, I guess. Um, and I've always been the type of person that I needed some type of outlet. I needed something to focus on to sort of distract me from those issues. Most of my 20s, I spent having babies, raising those babies. Um, my life was really dedicated to being a military wife and a stay-at-home mom, and they were my outlet. They kept me focused and grounded. And when you stay at home, it's stressful. I did it for 10 years. It's stressful, it's frustrating, but it made my life a little bit easier when it came to my anxiety, because I'm the type of person, when I have these moments, I just withdraw in myself. I don't talk to people about it. And it's not that I'm ashamed or embarrassed. I'm not. I'll talk to anybody about it. But when I'm in the moment experiencing that anxiety, I don't want to be around people. I want to go to my bedroom, shut the door, and just cut myself off from the world. So that's kind of a good thing and kind of a bad thing. It's a good thing because my family doesn't have to see it. My children they've never really witnessed an anxiety attack because I closed myself off from everybody. So my 20s, it was easy to control and manage because um, I could just tell the family, I need to go to my bedroom, I need to be alone. And it never really got that bad, I don't think. Um, there was one time my husband and we were stationed in Portugal, and he came home from work one day, and I was just sitting in the middle of the bed crying. And I just said, I got to go home. I got to go home. So he put me on a plane, and me and my two little ones, and we came home to Virginia for a while. But the way it did manifest itself was a girl gained weight. I will dig up some old pictures and put them in the video, but I was chunky in my 20s. One of the issues that I have is I'm a stress eater. So when I have anxiety or when I have depression, I look at these people who have these same issues, and it causes them to not eat right, and they weigh like 100 pounds. And I know that is as difficult as the opposite, right? So I'm not discounting you guys at all. But sometimes I do look at you all and be like, I wish I didn't eat when I was stressed or have anxiety, but I just stuff my face like it's, and people don't understand it when you tell them. They're like, well, just don't eat it. But it's this uncontrollable urge. I remember one time when I was working, this was a couple of years ago, and we'll get to my stressful job in a minute, but I was stressed at work, And my girlfriend, she walked in my office and my desk was covered in, it was around Easter time, and there was these little, they were eggs. They're like Whoppers on the inside, but then they have like this M&M shell. I can't remember what they're called, but my desk was covered in the wrappers. And she was like, Autumn. I was like, I so most of my 20s, I was able to hide it. I stress ate, and I got the biggest I have ever been. I got up to 210 pounds, and on my 5'2" frame, that's pretty intense. Um, so my youngest daughter at the time, she's my middle child now, but it was her first birthday, and you can kind of trick yourself into not realizing how big that you are. You wear the stretch of your pants. You don't take your picture. You avoid anything that's going to tell you you've gained weight. But it was her birthday, her first birthday, and she was mommy's girl. She cried if she was not in my arms. So at her birthday party, I had to hold her the whole time. So there's pictures, there's people taking pictures. And I get these pictures back and I just go, is that me? Like, is that me? So her birthday's in November. That January 1st, I decided I have to lose weight. So I started my weight loss journey. It took years. It was not this miraculous 6-month transformation. It took years because it's not a matter of me not being focused. It's a matter of if I have a bad day or I'm getting anxious or I feel myself depressed, I'm going to go eat a whole loaf of bread and I can't stop myself. You don't understand it unless you experience it, but I can't stop myself until the loaf of bread is gone. So it took years and years and years and years for me to get to where I was happy with my weight. Um, and in that transformation, we moved to South Carolina. We were at a new base. Um, I started doing boot camp. I found a personal trainer. I went to him a couple days a week, and I went to boot camp 5, 6 days a week. And I found a running partner. I started running, and this goes back to me controlling my anxiety. I have to be full force invested in something. Like I just have to have a hobby that occupies so much of my time. I kind of think that's what YouTube is doing for me now. It was Trump, but I've always had something to occupy my time. This is going to be longer than I expected. All right, so I'm going to boot camp. I'm seeing a personal trainer. I'm running. I got to the point that I was running 20 miles a week. Our running partner and I, we would run like a mile, 2 miles, something like that. And then every Sunday we would go on this trail that was outside and we would run 12 miles. Like to go from 210 pounds, I could not run for 20 seconds on the treadmill without having to stop, to now I'm running 12 miles in one venture, right? Um, and I got down to 127 pounds, and it was healthy 127 pounds. It wasn't from starving myself. It was from working out and running and really paying attention to what I ate. Um, and I was probably at the peak of feeling good. I felt good. I felt healthy. I felt strong. My anxiety wasn't taking over my life. I don't know in my almost 40 years if I've ever felt as good as I felt those couple years. Um, and then my husband had to go to Korea for a year. And I was in a new position at work. I had started working a couple years prior to that, and I was in a new position at work. It required a lot of travel, and I've got 3 kids. I'm a military spouse. I don't have family that lives next door, and I have 3 kids to take care of, and I have to travel for work, and I don't have a husband at home to help me. So we made the decision to send my son to Virginia to live with my family, you know, where some men could go out and throw the football with him and take him to football practice and all that. Um, so I was in a stressful job. I was having to travel. I was having to rely on friends and family to help me with my girls. I'm without my husband. I'm without my son. Um, so the stress came flooding in. The anxiety came flooding back. Um, I slacked off on my running. I slacked off on my boot camp. I started eating whatever I could eat. Um, during that year, I had to go back on anxiety medication. Yeah. So it was hard. And I think what made it harder was I didn't have anybody supporting me. I had a lot of people telling me how I was making all the wrong decisions. I had a lot of people telling me that my son should be with me, and I didn't disagree, but I was trying to do what was best for him. I had a lot of people tell me I should quit my job. Well, that's easy for you to say when you're on the outside looking in, but when your family depends on your income, I can't just quit my job. So that year was horrific. And I think that year started a downward spiral for me. My husband came back. I felt like things were starting to, you know, uh, get better because he was there to help me. And then he says he's retiring. Any of you military wives out there or military families, you know, the retirement of a 20-year military um, member of the military, it's stressful. It's stressful. Where are we going to live? Where are we going to retire? We got to take care of this. We got to take care of that. My job was horrifically stressful. So now I'm not going to boot camp at all. Now I'm lucky if I run 6 miles a week. My eating and the weight gain was very slow because I would realize it was happening and I would try to pull it back. And then I would say, okay, I got to go to boot camp. And then I started boxing. Like I was trying to keep up with it. But when you have depression and when you have anxiety, it controls so much of you. And I'm a strong person and I'm fighting it with every ounce of my being. And some days I can't pick myself up. And then other days I'm like, hell no, I got this, you know? So it was very gradual. So he retires, he moves to Virginia. My position is supposed to become remote. They keep delaying it. So I move into an apartment until I can move home to Virginia. My kids moved here with my husband, and now I'm all alone. I'm all alone. Thank God for some friends that I had there in South Carolina because I don't know what would have happened without them. But I'm all alone. And again, from my family, all I hear is critique, 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 critique. I think they cared about me. They worried about me. They didn't come visit me. I lived in South Carolina for a year, and family never came to see me. They asked me to come see them, and I did as often as I could because my babies were here. But the weight gain kept creeping up. The working out kept slacking off. The anxiety kept getting worse, and I kept trying to control it. The depression kept getting worse, and I kept trying to control it. So I was in this downward spiral, and my boss sends me to Alabama. I have a little fruit fly. And I go to Alabama. I'm in a state where now I don't even have my friends. I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody. And I'm all alone. And I'm even further away from my family. And I'm working at a site that I don't know anybody. They don't know me. Um, so that's when it started getting really bad. I lived in that hotel for 7 months helping this site improve. And after about 7 months, they said, we want to relocate you there. Our goal is to get you home to Virginia, but we need you here for a while. So I rented a house. And the weight gain got out of control, totally out of control. And I couldn't stop it. You know, I had one really good friend of mine said, you're letting yourself go. And I wish it was as easy as just going to the gym. I wish it was as easy as just watching what I ate. But the anxiety and the depression, because I was all alone, I was all alone, and nothing but people being critical. I never had any support. Um, Very rarely did anyone come to Alabama to see me. My friends didn't come. I had one friend that came to visit me in Alabama. The rest didn't come. Not that I expected them to stop their life to come. I didn't. Um, but I was all alone. And the anxiety and the depression, it took over. I would have loved to have worked out, but I could barely get myself to the bathtub some days. Um, it was a struggle and an effort just to go to the bath. And makeup became my outlet. I love just spending time in Ulta and Sephora and just looking at the new makeup and skincare. And I know it sounds silly, but it's like it was a routine for me every day. It's how, you know, people that have anxiety or OCD or depression, they find themselves coping through routines. And that was my routine every morning. If it was up to me, I would have never gotten out of that bed and I would have never went to work. But the routine of sitting in front of my mirror for however long it took and putting on my makeup and listening to music and vaping, it became my routine. It was how I was able to just pick myself up and go, because it's not that I couldn't go without makeup. It was the routine of doing my makeup. It kept me calm. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what happened. I don't know honestly how I survived that year. My mom says I'm brave and strong. I think if she would have saw me at my worst throughout that year, she might not think that. No one. There's one person who I would talk to about how I was feeling. And I'll be forever indebted to that person because they listened to me. Um, and I think they're the only one that really knew how low that I got at certain points. So that was probably the worst year of my life. And it's over. Thank God it's over. But I'm home now in Virginia. I'm with my family. My company made it possible. I'm with my family. I'm with my husband, my children. I mean, I'm home. I survived. So maybe I'm a little stronger than I thought I was. But I feel good. I'm not taking anxiety medicine anymore. Now, I still have moments, don't get me wrong. Um, I'm always going to. And I guess until the day I die, I'm going to have anxiety. I'm going to have depression. Um, and I just have to find these outlets like YouTube to help me through them. But anyway, Transformation Tuesday. So that's the background. But this day is going to be dedicated to not makeup, not skincare. I love those things, but this day is going to be dedicated to me and picking myself back up again. I have hired a new, my old personal trainer. He's trained me virtually. So I meet with him twice a week. I want to get back into my healthier eating habits. Um, I'm not a dieter. I'm never going to be a dieter. Every time I say I go on a diet, 3 days later, I'm off of it. So I can't diet, but I can watch what I eat. I need to lose about 30 pounds, but that's my goal, I guess. But it's not about the weight loss. I'm not focusing on the weight loss. I'm focusing on getting my mind healthy again, getting my body strong and healthy again. So Transformation Tuesday, we're going to talk about how did I do that week? How was my personal training visits? Have I lost any weight? Do I feel any better? So you guys will see me through this journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And there's going to be weeks I get on here and I'll be like, you know what? I ate that whole pie last night. It's not going to happen overnight, and I'm going to fall off the wagon a lot. And you guys will be here to see me through it. But when I fall off the wagon, I'm just going to have to pick myself back up, which at this point in my life, I have become a master at just picking myself back up. And I think that's what does make me strong. Um, I have moments of weakness. I have moments that they get bad. They get really bad. Um, and sometimes I just let it take over. And sometimes I'm like, not today. This is not happening today. Um, but anyway, so Transformation Tuesday. Some days I'll be sharing my successes, and some days I'll be talking to you about how I'm never going to survive it. I'm just going to be as real and as honest as I can be, and see it through to the end with you guys. So, have a great Tuesday. I've been working on some videos to post. I'll be editing those for you soon. I tried the Dr. Jart hydration rubber mask, so you'll get to see how that goes. And I have been researching for my YouTube series. I will be posting or starting that series on Monday, but it will be 10 days of $10 or less foundation. So I will be using a new foundation every day for 10 days that costs less than $10. So stay tuned for that. I gotta admit, I am a foundation snob. I will use drugstore anything and everything. My favorite lip gloss is $8 from the drugstore. But I'm pretty bougie when it comes to my foundation, although there's a couple of drugstore foundations that I do love. Um, and one I will be featuring in the series because it is just worth every bit of the $9 that you spend on it. So anyway, stay tuned for those videos. They will be up and coming. With that said, have a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday and the rest of your week.